Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of our ASEAN-Japan Insights. Thank you to everyone for taking the time to join us for this occasion. My name is Katrina Navalio, a program manager at the Research and Policy Advocacy Cluster of the ASEAN-Japan Centre. The ASEAN-Japan Insights is a new initiative that aims to be leading information sharing platform on key ASEAN-Japan matters. Our speakers will comprise of leaders and experts from industries, academia, and governments from within the region and Japan. Each webinar will be co-organized with a partner institution in ASEAN to foster cross-collaboration and co-creation between stakeholders in ASEAN and Japan. Our topic for today focuses on important developments in the area of digital payment systems in ASEAN. And we will be learning from the experiences of central banks and industry players in Cambodia and Indonesia as they establish and navigate the dynamic landscape of fintech and payment apps. Hopefully, the presentations and panel discussion will leave us more informed about the opportunities and future of cross-border payment systems in ASEAN and Japan. I am aware that our Secretary General, Chris Hirabayashi, have included a brief introduction of our participants today in his opening remarks. So without further ado, Secretary General Hirabayashi, please.
Thank you, Kat. Very good afternoon, distinguished speakers and moderators and participants. And speakers particularly, Mr. Ok Sarat, Director of Payment System, National Bank of Cambodia, Fitria Ilmi Turiswati, Director at Bank Indonesia, Mr. Miyazawa Kazumasa-sama, President of Soramits Japan, and Ibu Anika Faisal, Deputy Head of Indonesia Fintech Association or AFTEC, Neobank Department. Thank you all for joining us today despite your busy schedule. And also a special thanks to our moderator, Dr. Monica Wilhaja, visiting fellow at the ECS, Yusuf Ishak Institute. Your expertise is sure to spark vibrant discussions on today's crucial topic. Thank you very much. It is my distinguished honor to welcome you to the inaugural session of the ASEAN-Japan Insight Series. This groundbreaking initiative embarks on a new chapter in our shared journey, fostering a rich knowledge and a collaboration which would lead to co-create between ASEAN and Japan. Today, we find ourselves at the forefront of a digital revolution and an era where knowledge-based economies dominate. Recognizing the transformative impact of financial technology on our economies and society is imperative. The ASEAN-Japan Insight Series, a pioneering hybrid and bilingual platform, aims to illuminate the evolving ASEAN-Japan relationship with critical information and the collaborative opportunity of knowledge co-creation. Our focus today touches on the significant milestone in regional cooperation, the advent of negotiation of the ASEAN Digital Economy Framework Agreement, ASEAN-DEFA, the launch of the negotiation of this landmark agreement in September 2023 is not just a testament to our collective ambition, but also commitment to achieving a cohesive regional digital economy upon its endorsement in 2025. According to a study by the ASEAN Secretariat, the DEFA is expected to set the foundation for doubling the potential value of the ASEAN digital economy from $1 trillion to $2 trillion US dollar in 2030. This is amazing. The journey toward the global goal has already begun with several ASEAN member states pioneering in establishing bilateral financial linkages. For instance, from Singapore's Pay Now connecting with Thailand's Prompt Pay to the recent launch of the KHQL, Lao QL between Cambodia and Lao PDL, we are witnessing the dawn of an era where cross-border digital payments are not just a possibility, but a reality. However, the journey is not without challenges. As we integrated our economies digitally, questions arise about the gap we need to bridge and the preparations necessary to navigate this rapidly changing digital field and ensure inclusivity for all. Today's dialogue is not just about celebrating such achievement, but also about identifying these challenges and exploring how ASEAN and Japan can co-create and benefit from this evolving digital payment landscape. But this series will serve as a platform for sharing insights and fostering dialogue among industry leaders, academias, governments, and enterprise. It is an opportunity for us to delve into the potential and the challenges of cross-border co-creation and understand how these developments can contribute to deepening friendship and cooperation between Japan and the ASEAN member states. Colleagues and friends, as we commemorate the 50th year of ASEAN-Japan friendship and cooperation, let us commit to a journey of co-creation. Embracing innovation and partnership, we can unlock new possibilities and forge a future that is digitally integrated, economically robust, and inclusive. Thank you for your being part of this significant endeavor. I really look forward to the rich discussions and the insightful exchange that will undoubtedly emerge from this series. 本当にありがとうございます。
Thank you, Secretary General Hirabayashi, for formally opening the session and for setting the context for this panel discussion. Lastly, before we get into the content that everyone is waiting for, allow me to quickly introduce our panelists. First off, Dr. Maria Monica Viharja will be our moderator. She is an economist and a visiting fellow at the ISEAS Yusof Ishak Institute, and more recently, she was also the 2023 Nikkei Asia Scholar. Dr. Viharja has been heavily involved in making Indonesia's economy more inclusive. She was previously a consultant for Bank Indonesia in 2012, and in 2017, she was seconded to the Executive Office of the President of the Republic of Indonesia as a senior advisor to the Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of strategic economic issues, where she oversaw food policy reforms and the stunting prevention agenda. We are very much honored to have her today. Moving forward from the National Bank of Cambodia, we have Mr. Uk Sarat. Mr. Uk currently serves as Director of the Payment System Department at the National Bank of Cambodia. His main responsibilities include formulating payment system policies, strengthening the regulatory and oversight framework, and enhancing cooperation among all stakeholders. Mr. Uk also engages in several financial sector initiatives, such as financial sector development strategy, financial inclusion, financial stability, and financial integration. Having spent 20 years at the National Bank of Cambodia, his perspective will be invaluable for this conversation. Similarly, from Bank Indonesia, we have Ms. Fitria Irmi Triswati. Ms. Triswati has been with the Bank Indonesia for 25 years, but most relevant to today's subject, she is Director and Head of the Retail Payment System Group during a time of Indonesia's growth in developing cross-border QR payment schemes, most recently with Singapore. She is also constantly working on improving the security of the QRIS system, which we will hear more about later. Her experience in these areas make her an important voice in this dialogue today. Moving away from central banks, from Soramitsu, Japan, we have Mr. Miyazawa Kasumaza. Mr. Miyazawa is one of the co-founders and current president of Soramitsu, Japan, a private company that created the Bakong system together with the National Bank of Cambodia. You may also know him as the engineer that helped with the creation of the Sony Vaio computer series and the creator of the EDI electronic money system, now acquired by Rakuten. He will be sharing his unique views on the topic from the perspective of an engineer and a pioneer today. Finally, we would like to inform that we are privileged to have an industry player from the Indonesian Fintech Association, or AFTEC, joining us in the panel discussion. Ms. Anika Faisal is Deputy Head of AFTEC Neobank Department. She has vast experience in the field of law and has had various positions, including as director, among others, in Bank Niaga, Bank Danamon, and Bank BTPN. Today, Ms. Faisal will be joining as a panelist and will share with us a very rich industry player's point of view, specifically within the digital payment system sector in Indonesia during the panel discussion. Meanwhile, Monica and Anika will join us later for the discussion segment after the following presentations. With that said, let us head right into what our speakers have prepared for us. With that, we would like to call on Mr. Ook for your presentation.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me here today. So I'm very delighted to participate in this event along with our presenters in this afternoon. So first of all, allow me to present to you a little bit on the journey of Cambodia in terms of promoting cross-border connectivity with other countries in ASEAN. So, but before that, let me introduce a little bit on the Bakong payment system in Cambodia. We consider as a new generation instant payment system along with the QR code development in Cambodia. So my presentation for this afternoon will separate into three parts. The first part is on the background of Bakong and QR code in Cambodia with the cross-border payment initiatives. And second part is on some of the challenges that we face in the journey to develop digital payment in Cambodia. And lastly, on the some of the perspectives that ASEAN, in particular Cambodian, can work with Japan to promote cross-border connectivity. So on the first part, let me touch upon on the Bakong payment system. The Bakong payment system was officially launched in October 2020 to enable real-time fund transfer and instant payment transaction using QR code across different banking and financial institutions. Until now, there are 74 members in the Bakong payment system, in which 57 members are already going live, whereas the rest of the team are still in the integration process. Since the official launch of the Bakong payment system, we observed that the every transaction of the Bakong system in both cash on and USD has been increasing dramatically. So between 2019 and 2023, then the transaction have increased to up to 40.7 trillion KHR and 71.6 billion US dollar, roughly around 70% of our GDP. So just within only 3 years, the adoption of a transaction has already reached up to 70% of the GDP, which is one of the significant amount as compared to other payment systems within our country. The introduction of Bakong is believed to promote interoperability and interconnectivity between different platforms and players within Cambodia, and to attain efficiencies of payment system in terms of cost, speed, security, and to promote financial inclusion with respect to access, usage, and quality. And lastly, the introduction of the Bakong payment system is to promote the use of the local currency. Taking into account the rapid development of technology and the crucial benefit of QR code payment to facilitate cross-border payment, reduce risk and transaction costs, as well as to promote payment efficiency, QR code payment has also introduced in late 2020s. Since then, the NBC has taken tremendous effort to embark on cross-border payment connectivity initiatives. And until now, we have already enabled cross-border connectivity with countries such as Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, Laos, and many countries more are in the pipeline. Please move to the next slide. And yep, next slide, please. No, not this one. Sorry, previous one. Not this one. Okay. Let me go to a little bit on the cross-border collaboration, the previous one on the slide. Yes, please. Let me briefly go to in depth about the collaboration on cross-border payment connectivity between Cambodia and Laos. So the collaboration have started in late 2020 when the two countries have signed an MOU in the area of financial innovation and payment system to develop payment system linkages using QR code payment. This initiative has enabled the interoperability of QR code for cross-border retail payment and remittance, and to promote the usage of local currency between Cambodia and Laos, which is in line with the government and ASEAN objective toward digital payment connectivity. After the MOU was signed, the NBCs and the BOR team have conducted a feasibility study and discussed many key feature related issues. And the project has successfully gone live in mid-2023, where customers in both countries are able to use their own local currency to make QR payment across country. Next slide, please. So moving on to the second point on the challenges in terms of promoting digital payment in the countries. So digital payment can have increasing financial inclusion in Cambodia by providing access to financial services to those who are unbanked or underbanked. With the increasing penetration of smartphone in Cambodia, there is an opportunity for digital payment system to reach a wider audience. The growth of e-commerce in Cambodia also presents an opportunity for digital payment system to play a significant role in facilitating online transaction. In addition, the Cambodian government has also shown support for the adoption of digital payment system with the issuance and development of many strategy, roadmap, and framework on digital related issues. Next slide, please. However, the lack of proper infrastructure such as internet connectivity in some areas of Cambodia, as well as low level of digital literacy among population, pose a significant challenge for adoption of digital payment system. Currently, older customers, especially who reside in the rural areas, still prefer to use cards as they are not familiar with digital payment system. Cybersecurity is also another major concern for digital payment system. Hacker and cyber criminal can easily target digital payment system to steal sensitive information, including personal and financial data. Last but not least, the regulatory framework for digital payment in Cambodia is still evolving, and there is need for clear guidance and regulatory to ensure the safety and security of digital payment transaction. As a regulator, the National Bank Cambodia has actively taken effort to protect security, safety, and efficiencies of banking and financial institution business cooperation. This can be witnessed through the issuance of technology risk management framework guidelines to support financial institutions produce a secure technology ecosystem. Based on the guideline, banking and financial institutions can be proactively arrange or modify their policy, procedure, and technology based on new development and emerging concerns so that serious incident can be extensively minimized. In addition, the National Bank Cambodia has been conducting public program on financial and digital literacy regulatory to promote public awareness with various partners such as banking and financial sector, Ministry of Women Affairs, Ministry of Education, Arts and Sport. The literacy program is also infiltrated in general education, which the financial curriculum is developing and implemented. Now let's go to the last part. Next slide, please. So in terms of perspective of how Japan and ASEAN can cooperate in cross-border digital payment system in the region, one of the notable areas of digital transformation within ASEAN financial service in ASEAN is the rise of revolution of digital payment. ASEAN is witnessing a significant surge in the adoption of digital payments such as mobile wallet, credit card, instant payment adoptions, and so on. The growth of cross-border trade in the past decade has also fueled the adoption of digital payments. ASEAN Central Bank have made great progress in linking national e-payment system with such payment systems such as the bilateral QR-based cross-border payment system between Cambodia and Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, and like Secretary General just mentioned, Singapore with Thailand, and a number of countries like Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines, and Singapore, for example. Since Japan has a significant number of migrant workers from ASEAN countries who send remittance back home, cross-border e-payment linkage between Japan and ASEAN would support e-commerce as well as service activity such as tourism and remittance. To embark on multilateral connectivity, Japan and ASEAN can work together to establish common standard for cross-border digital payment system linkages, which will ensure interoperability and seamless interaction between different systems in the region. In addition, cooperation can be established to increase transparencies and improve the speed of remittance transfers, as well as facilitate low cost and efficient cross-border remittance. In terms of cross-border connectivity between Cambodia and Japan, the National Bank of Cambodia and the Ministry of Economic and Industry of Japan are currently working together to sign a memorandum of cooperation, which will be signed on the 18th December next week in Tokyo this year, to enhance financial integration and strengthen ties, as well as to build an affordable and accessible cross-border digital payment ecosystem. We believe that this bilateral connectivity will support economic recovery, promote inclusive growth, as well as bilateral trade, investment, remittance, and tourism activity between the two countries. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Uk, for sharing this very important development in the area of economic cooperation between Cambodia and Japan. And we look forward to the outcome of the signing of the MOU after December 18. Up next, we would be hearing from the Bank Indonesia representative, Ms. Fitria Irmi Triswati, about the current context of the digital payment systems in Indonesia. With this, Ibu Triswati, please.
Thank you very much, Katrina. And thank you for the opportunity and having me here. So can I have the presentation, please? Let me structure my presentation here with the next slide with outline here. The first one, maybe the rise of digital transaction as a background of digitalization in Indonesia. And then we will aim at cross-border payment connectivity as our dream to build a connected, efficient payment system in the region. And lastly, exploring the central bank digital currency implementation as our project in the next future and beyond. To the next slide. In the last recent years, we have witnessed shifts in people's behavior, digital innovation, and the expansion of merchants, especially during the pandemics. And in numbers, Indonesia digital potential is representing by 70% productive age in our population, and those are mainly digital generation, of course, the Gen X, Millennial, and Gen Z, and etc. Gen Y, and etc. And then also the 210 million internet users with 77% penetration. That makes us number 4 biggest in the world. And from the supply side, 98% merchant here uses digital payments. And all those factors encourage digital payment, representing here by transactions increase, digital banking, and e-money that grow at an accelerating rate. And also e-commerce also grow at 53%. It is also quite high. Next slide. As a policy response, Bank Indonesia in 2019 have launched what's so-called the Blueprint of Indonesia Payment System up to 2025. That is our policy direction on payment system to respond to development of digital economy and finance. There are 5 visions here. One is the integration of national digital economy and finance and digital banking transformation. Third one is interlink fintech and bank. And then also number 4 is balance, innovation, and stability. And the last one is national interest on cross-border. And the focus is, of course, increasing inclusiveness while still encouraging growth and maintaining stability. Some of the initiatives have been implemented. In regulatory reform, we have already simplified many of our regulation and also enhanced our sandbox to enable payment system provider to serve customer needs more, of course. And from the retail payment infrastructure, we have established Bank Indonesia Fast Payment with the feature of credit transfer, and the next one is other features coming around. And also aiming the cross-border payment later. And in national standard on payment system, we already have established SNAP, which is a national standard on open API for payment. And then CRIS is the national standard on QR code for payment, and also Kartu Kredit Indonesia, which is a domestic or Indonesian's credit card that processed here in domestic. Next one, let me get the overview of the development of our fast payment. It is BFAST is our retail fast payment system infrastructure that now BFAST has become the public's main preference in fund transfers since its implementation in December 2021. So BFAST is very affordable. With the pricing scheme and transaction limits is also very handy and very friendly to customers here. Maximum is 2,500 rupiah for customers. It is around 16 cents in US dollar, and the maximum value per transactions is 250 million rupiah. It is around 16,000 US dollar. And the payment system infrastructure here features individual credit transfers at this point, but looking forward to other features like bulk credit, request for payment, and then also direct debit next year. And for the membership, there are 123 participants, including banks, non-banks, and other party, and that includes 94% of the market share. And the transactions has been increasing since its implementation. We have reached throughout 2023, the total volume reached 2.3 billion transactions that worth 6,650 trillion rupiah, with daily average transaction around 7 million. It is considered a game changer.
Connectivity issues with Bank Indonesia, and while we are waiting to connect for Ibu Triswati to connect back, kindly hold on for a minute.
I have rejoined, I guess.
Thank you, Ibu Triswati. Please proceed.
Very sorry. Sorry for Chris. Kris is our QR code Indonesian standard for payment, and it is very simple that Kris is integrated with existing payment application or mobile banking. That's why it is very popular in public here. And it is launched in 2019. And starting from January 2020, it is a mandatory implementation, and it is very it is a game changer, because before Kris implementation, every payment service provider had their own exclusive QR code. So it is very impractical and inefficient. But after Kris implementation, with Kris, payment become very fast, easy, practical, and efficient, because we only need one QR and can be scanned by all payment service provider application here. And it is also considered a game changer in pandemic era, with the feature of TTM or without customer presence. Next slide, that we have pictures here that Kris transactions are accelerating. In October 2023, the Kris user reached 43 million user. It is almost reached the target in this year, that is 45 million. In fact, maybe in November, this number has already exceeded the target, but it is not confirmed yet in our publication. And also in volume, it also has reached 1.6 billion transaction, which is exceed our target of 1 billion this year. For merchant side, already 30 million merchants have implemented Kris, and 92% of them are medium, small, and micro enterprises. Next slide, if we can think big and start small, it's a cross-border payment connectivity, that the target is, of course, the digital economy, e-commerce, and then trade, investment, financial market, and other economic sectors. And we are coming with the 5 modalities, which are QR payment, fast payment system, and then RTGS, API, and data framework. But nowadays, the priorities is on the QR payment and also fast payment system. Of course, we still need to sit together to talk about challenges, maybe in a different messaging format, and then pricing scheme, etc. But of course, the benefits of the cross-border payment connectivity itself will exceed, of course, the challenges. We will have shorter transaction chains, so transaction cost can be very efficient and informed in advance, and also faster transaction. And for the timeline, in 2024 up to 2025, we will work on development and implementation of fast payment system interlinking for Kris and non-Kris payment. And this regional payment connectivity has been have this MOU signing among governors of 5 central banks: Indonesia, Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia, and Philippines. And for the priority for the cross-border Kris, of course, we will aim to facilitate economic activities between countries, especially in trade, tourism, and also investment in the future. And we already have linkage with Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore. And since its implementation, foreign tourist visits has been increasing in larger number than those numbers before pandemic. Next one, to the future and beyond. This is the last one. Is central bank digital currency, that we want to explore the CBDC under our project Garuda. We have launched white paper project Garuda that we will hope that will navigate the architecture of digital rupiah. And the next slide is the 3 iterative stages of a digital rupiah roadmap. That at the first stage, the development of the wholesale digital rupiah will be initiated, and then the intermediate stage, it will be extended to financial market use case, and lastly, it will be end-to-end integrated with the retail digital rupiah at the final stage. So I will stop here, and I will come to questions and discussion, of course. Thank you. Back to you, Catherine.
Ibu Triswati, for the last two presentations from the central banks of Cambodia and Indonesia, they have highlighted the achievements in terms of establishing and implementing the digital payment systems in both countries over the last 3 years. And especially also for the Indonesian context, the achievement of almost 45 million onboarded users at present presents a really engaging opportunity for cross-border payment systems within ASEAN. Meanwhile, for the next speaker, we will be hearing from an industry player perspective, specifically from Soramitsu, Japan. Mr. Miyazawa Kazumasa will be talking about his company's engagements in terms of establishing the Bakong with the National Bank of Cambodia, among others. With this, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Kazumasa.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting me to this honorable event and sessions. So I'd like to explain about our activities with central banks. So first of all, we'd like to explain about our company's outline. So Soramitsu is an award-winning global financial technology company with expertise in developing blockchain-based solutions. So we are working with National Bank of Cambodia and the Bank of the Laos and also the Central Bank of Solomon Islands. So we founded a company in 2016 in Japan, and we have office in 7 countries. So this is our products, blockchain, Hyperledger, Iroha. So the Linux Foundation selected IBM, Intel, and Soramitsu as an open source industry standard among 260 companies. So our advantage is a high speed, high volume processing, and more suitable for the payment application and CBDC. We pass a security, stability, and the durability test. And we have advantage for the interoperability with various blockchains around the world. So this is the comparison with other blockchains. So if we compare with Ethereum, so our transaction speed is 10 times faster. It takes only 2 seconds for the transactions. And the throughput is 100 times bigger than Ethereum. So we can process 2,000 transactions per second. That's why we can cover the one countries with one single blockchains. So these are our use cases built by our products. So for the overseas for digital payment and CBDC system, working with Cambodia, Laos, and Solomon Islands. And also our products is used for the telecom fraud data sharing and the digital identity and the cross-border remittance. We had developed a prototype with the ADB and the Central Bank of Solomon Islands. We support the cross-border remittance of the National Bank of Cambodia. So from 2017, we worked together with the National Bank of Cambodia. We signed up the co-development contract with NBC, and then we complete the pilot system by 2019 July, and then officially launch is 2020 October. So as Mr. Salat explained, that back on 3 years growth is very huge, and about the 2023 estimation, the number of the user is about 10.9 million. It's almost 2/3 of the Cambodia's population. And also transaction amount is cover more than 70% of Cambodia GDP. So I'd like to show you some small short video, 2 minutes video, which was produced by NHK.
In the 30 years since its civil war, Cambodia has undergone extraordinary economic growth. In 2020, its central bank took the world by surprise by becoming the first in Asia to introduce a digital currency. Fears of infection slowed the use of cash, and many people turned instead to digital payments. Bakong has also helped streamline the disparate payment systems used by different banks. The previous hassles of transferring between different banks were ironed out, helping digital payments take off even faster. Next, they visit Bang Yadit, a farmer who began using digital payments 6 months ago. She and her husband own and raise 3,000 ducks. They make a living selling their eggs. She uses an app to pay for feed and other items, which previously required a visit to a transfer service.
ច្រើនលោកគ្រូដោយសារយើងចំណេញពេលវេលាលុយតាមវិញឬក៏តាមផ្សេងៗយើងត្រូវបង់សេវាតែដល់ពេលយើងប្រើប្រាស់តាមតនចិត្តយើងអត់បាក់បង់សេវាដល់ពេលយើងអត់សូវចេះចឹងចានឹកឃើញភ័យដូចថាយើងមើល Facebook អីឃើញគេចូលឆែកលួចតិចលួចឆែកមើលខ្លាចបាត់លុយបាត់អីព្រោះយើងអត់សូវជំនាញណាចា
Today, around half of their buyers pay digitally. Eventually, Yadit expects to go fully digital.
ថាបើសិនណាយើងទូទាត់តន់ចិត្តទាំងអស់គ្នាខ្ញុំអត់បាក់ទៅផ្សារទេអញ្ចឹងឲ្យតាប៉ាវាគាត់ដឹកទៅអញ្ចឹងគេទូទាត់តាមតន់ចិត្តមកខ្ញុំស្រួលតែដល់ពេលមានអ្នកខ្លះ
Cambodia's digital currency is changing rural lives for the better. With digital payments quadrupling in the space of a year and usage of domestic currency on the rise, it's clear that the national bank's efforts are bearing fruit.
Okay, thank you. Now you understand that this digital payment will contribute to the financial inclusion in the rural area. So this is our thought of the this impact to the economy back on over the last 3 years. So Bakon is bringing structural improvement to the financial systems, which is benefiting not only for the financial sectors, but also for students, industrial sector, and government. Next, we have a POC of the CBDC with the Bank of Laos. So we had a one year study with this Bank of Laos, and finally we completed this proof of concept in Bank of Laos. And also we had developing a prototype with the ADB for the cross-border security transaction system. So we worked together with other companies, and then we connected the 3 different types of blockchains, and then we confirmed that we can exchange the value between the countries. Next, I'd like to touch upon this Pacific Alliance countries' activities. So now we got a budget from METI, Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry of Japan. So the purpose of this study is to promote this CBDC in ASEAN area and as well as Pacific Island areas. And then after we introduce a CBDC system to these countries, we like to also develop this cross-border payment system. And finally, we like to connect this system to the Japan to do this, improve this trade settlement. So at the November 28th, we had a ceremony at the Solomon Islands to start the CBDC POC in Solomon Islands. So Prime Minister Sogabale also joined this ceremony, and he's very aggressive to start this CBDC in Solomon Islands. So this is a summary of the proof of concept. So to understand the CBDC value flow and benefit, to get back the feedback from a participant to customize a production CBDC system for the Solomon Islands. So we do the four kind of use cases. One is a person-to-person fund transfer. The next is a payment at shop. And the third is a cross-border funds transfer. And the fourth is a fund transfer between banks. So this is a value cross-border value transfer. Sorry, this is a overall picture of CBDC POC. So we did 4 cases: person to person, payment at the shop, and cross-border, and for wholesale CBDC. So regarding this cross-border funds transfer, we developed this bridge system between 2 countries. So one country and another country to connect using this blockchain technology. So we confirmed that we can convert the one currency to another currency, but we still need future work for several issues, like create rules about what user can use the bridge and the transaction limits, and share KYC information across jurisdictions. And central banks should provide liquidity for exchanging between other regional currencies. And the coordination and cooperation is important between the different jurisdictions to harmonize regulations. That's all my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Miyazawa-san, for providing us the latest developments in terms of the accomplishments and achievements of Soromitsu Japan in aiding support for the ASEAN countries in terms of establishing CBDCs. I think at this point we have heard very informative presentations from our 3 speakers that would allow us to imagine what would be the future like for the cross-border digital payment systems in ASEAN and Japan. At this point, I think we are transitioning to a more meaningful discussion in our next session for the panel discussion, wherein all 4 of our speakers, including Ms. Annika Faisal from AFTEC, will further have an exchange in terms of the advantages, challenges, and further opportunities for this for the fintech and digital payment systems in ASEAN and Japan. I would like to encourage our online audience, if you would have any questions at any point during the panel discussion, please key in your questions, either in English or Japanese, in the QA box. Afterwards, we will have 10 minutes or so at the end of the panel discussion to entertain some of these online questions from the audience when we have enough time. With this, I would like to call on our capable moderator, Dr. Monica Wiharja, to take over our panel discussion. Dr. Wiharja, please.
So, distinguished audience and panelists, Secretary General Hirabashi, good afternoon from Singapore. Yoroshiko nagesimasu. I'm very honored to be moderating this discussion. We have heard excellent presentations from the panelists. And now we have about 45 minutes for this section, and 4 distinguished panelists, Mr. Sarat from National Bank of Cambodia, Ms. Treswati from Bank Indonesia, Mr. Kasumasa from Soromitsu Japan, and Ms. Faisal from Indonesian Fintech Association. I hope to allocate about 30 minutes for 3 rounds of panel discussion and 15 minutes for Q&A at the end of this section. And again, I would like to iterate for our online audience. Please drop your questions anytime in the Q&A box on your Zoom feature. So now, without further ado, let me begin with the first round of questions to our panelists on trust in digital payments. Because our time limitation, I would encourage that panelists could limit each answer to around 3 minutes. So there's no digital payment without digital trust. And hence the first round of questions to the panelists will be around digital trust in the context of digital payment systems. Scams and frauds in digital transactions are not uncommon in many developing Southeast Asian countries, and this could deter small merchants and consumers from using digital payments. So now my first set of questions to Mr. Sarat and Ms. Triswati. What have the central bank and the financial service authority in your respective countries done to build and sustain trust in the digital payment systems?
Should I go first? Okay, fine.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, Mr. Sarat. Yeah, please go first.
Thank you, Monica-san, for the question. So how have been our experience in terms of NBC experience to build trust in the digital payment? If you look at the mandate of the central bank, I'm not sure about Cambodia. I think maybe other country as well. So the role of the central bank is basically one of the mandate probably involved in the regulatory oversight and supervision of the payment system. So these are basically the roles that mandated to the central bank to perform, how to build trust for the public. So within this role, the central bank will be able to issue regulation to prevent certain issues, like for example, you just mentioned about fraud issues, operational risk issues, and in terms of data protection, for example. So the central bank provided role to issue regulation to allow this payment system operator as well as the payment service provider to operate on environments that is conforming to the regulation of the jurisdiction. So this is basically the main important part, the most important part of this to be a trial is that to have this regulatory oversight and supervision of the payment service. In addition to that, what is important, like you mentioned, is to preventing fraud, is to ensure consumer are protected. So this is very important, to ensure that consumer knowledge on the fraud. So to bring in the regime that can prevent the fraud happening among the users of the payment service, to prevent cybersecurity risks that might some attacker could attack this payment system operation. So basically, to ensure consumer in the most possible way possible, I mean, by bringing regulation in line with the international best practice and standard. So that's the second part I want to mention. And on the third part is that to adopt international standard and best practices. So, I mean, our colleague from Indonesia about the messaging standard and then payment system standard. So these are the key issues that for us, for the National Bank Cambodia, not just only the overseer of the payment system and the payment service, but we are also the operator of the payment service ourselves. We operating the background payment system, like you mentioned, to ensure trust in the system. We need to bring in that this standard and practice are in line with the international standard, so that we can ensure the user of our system that this is the best that they can have already. And on the fourth point, I would like to mention as well is on the campaigns and education. As you may see, one of the challenges in the adoption of digital payment in our country is on the lack of digital literacy among people living in the Euro areas and among the old generation people that they don't have sufficient knowledge to embark on the digital journey using digital device, for example. So this is very important. So once we provide them with sufficient understanding, once we provide them with sufficient literacy, and the trust is also come along with it as well. Without the understanding of this digital device, I don't think they will trust on they don't have trust on the digital payment. And the last one I want to make here, that to build the trust, we need to bring the collaboration with all the stakeholders, not just only the regulatory authority. We have to work with the industry players, like, for example, the banking community, the payment service institution, and in terms of cross-border transaction, we have to work with other regulators and other market participants as well. So the collaboration is very important. When we have collaboration, we can have support for all the stakeholders. We can have one voice in the ecosystem, and then that also brings trust from everyone. So I think I stop here. Get back to you, Monica-san. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the very comprehensive answers, Mr. Sarat. I'll give now the floor to Ms. Triswati.
Okay, thank you very much for the important questions here. I believe that the key ingredients of the trust in digital payment system are regulation, and then supervision, and also consumer protection. And of course, we are aiming to strong regulation and supervision on cybersecurity in all forms, as well as anti-money laundering, and also counterfeit financing of terrorism. And in fact, we also have the coordination of Bank Indonesia and also OJK as our FSA, that led us to become the 40th member of FATF, that is the important worldwide organization on anti-money laundering. And also in Indonesia, the government of the Republic Indonesia, throughout the Undang-Undang P2SK, or the Act on Financial Sector Development and Strengthening, enacted in 2023, and foresees institutional strengthening of financial sector authorities, including the mandate of Bank Indonesia. And we also realized that we need the structural reinforcement, and that is on our program, our focus in the future. And that also include developing an ecosystem based on a trusted environment by utilizing strong customer authentication with digital ID, and also a new perimeter in regulation for cybersecurity, safety, and also consolidation of payment system supervision. And lastly, we also, of course, always conduct the education and socialization of digital safety awareness, because we know that the security of the digital payment system here is not only about the mechanism, but also about social engineering that might be popular in public, with the scam and everything. So those are three programs that we conduct. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Triswati. So I noted so many issues and areas that central banks and their stakeholders, have been developing in order to maintain and to build and sustain trust in digital payments, including regulatory issuance and overseeing compliance, consumer protection, cybersecurity, complying to international standards and practices, and also importantly, digital literacy. And Ms. Triswati also mentioned about membership to FATF on anti-money laundering, and also digital authentication and digital ID, as well as digital safety awareness. Thank you so much. Now let me move to our next question. This question is for Ms. Faisal. What initiatives have been carried out by Indonesian Fintech Association and its members to increase and maintain trust from consumers in utilizing digital payments?
Thank you, Ms. Monica. Let me first of all thanks the committee for inviting us, AFTEC, to be part of this very important discussion this afternoon. And let me also greet my fellow panelists. The question that you just posed is a very spot on, maintain trust during the in the era of digital payments. So I think Ibu Fitria from Bank Indonesia has mentioned a couple of things that already been introduced and and actually put in running by Bank Indonesia. So what are the role AFTEC has in this context? Just to inform you that apart from AFTEC, actually Bank Indonesia has also, together with the payment players, has also established what's so-called an SRO for the payment system, whereby they provide a standard for various interconnectivity standard of how do we connect with each other. Now, it's called ASPI, and all the members are also the players in the payment industry. Having said that, obviously it establishes a standard whereby it will be able to sort of reduce the risk of the players. Now, for AFTEC itself, AFTEC is one of the oldest and probably now largest fintech association. And the aim of establishment of AFTEC is to encourage the growth of digital finance inclusion and literacy through the increase of access and utilization for quality digital financial services across Indonesia. AFTEC, if ASPI is actually appointed by Bank Indonesia to be an SRO in the payment system, AFTEC is appointed by FSA or OJK in the sense as SRO for digital finance innovation. AFTEC now have 330 members originating for more than 25 business models, including payment systems and neobank. Now, one of the AFTEC main goals as a SRO is to continuously enhance the implementation of governance, risk, and compliance principles within Indonesian fintech industry. We believe that responsible digital finance innovations are important to ensure customer protection and trust, as you just rightly mentioned. Now, among the initiatives that we have established is that we develop and implement code of conduct for AFTEC member. We currently have 6 issued code of conduct so far, including for digital finance innovation and personal data protection. We also currently finalizing code of conduct for payment initiation and acquiring services. We have been working closely with the regulators, stakeholders, and relevant members to aim to have all members to comply with these principles, such as integrity, good faith, compliance with regulation, fairness, customer protection, and transparency. And I just want to, at the end, echoes what Ibu Fitria already mentioned, that apart from the supervisory and the regulations that being established in Indonesia, I think we have teamed up the players and the regulators, both from Bank Indonesia as well from OJK, to carry out a lot of events, seminars, materials, commercials to educate. Because at the end of the day, this is the area, you can strengthen the players, but if your customers is not well educated, then they can be abused by the so-called those who has bad faith. And so it's a two-prong. Digital is a two-prong strategy. It can be used for a good thing, but also you can abuse it. So at the end of the day, that's what we are aiming to do. besides establishing standard conduct for our members, also doing a lot of customer education for that matter.
So much,
Back
Ms.
to you,
Faisal.
Bu Monica.
Yes, thank you so much. You've highlighted very important points, such as the sort of the responsibility and the task of AFTEC in terms of providing standards for the fintech players, and also the importance of close coordinations with other stakeholders, as well as educations for consumers to maintain and sustain trust among the customers in utilizing digital payments. Thank you. So now my next question is to Mr. Kasumasa. Mr. Kasumasa, Japan remains to be a cash-based society. I mean, we've heard from the panelists from developing ASEAN countries that a lot of countries and societies have moved towards more cashless societies. But as of 2022, only 10% of Japanese people use digital payments outside credit and debit cards. So my question to you, Mr. Kasumasa, do you think the issue of trust in digital payments has been a factor in Japan's slow adoption of digital payments, despite the fact that many of the technologies that these developing ASEAN member countries are using actually come from Japan, like the QR code technology? And what can or should Japan learn from these ASEAN countries? The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for the question, Ms. Monica. So regarding this trust, I believe that people's trust in banks and the central bank in Japan is very high. One of the reasons why the adoption of the digital payment in Japan has been delayed is that there are various kinds of payment services, and they are not interoperable each other. The specification of a QR code payment in Japan are not unified, and the stores where each payment service can be used are limited because there are no interoperability. Another reason is that the merchant fee in Japan are around 3% on average, which is much higher than overseas. It takes about 1 to half a month until the money is credited to the store. That's why many stores hesitate to introduce digital payments because it pushes pressure on stores' profits and the cash flow. One idea to solve this issue is to introduce digital payment using blockchain or DLT technology. In order to prevent the tampering and the system outrage with a conventional system, manual monitoring and a redundant system are required, which require a huge amount of initial investment and operating costs. That's the reason why the merchant fees are so high in Japan. On the other hand, the blockchain is a relatively inexpensive mechanism that can improve security, prevent scam and fraud, and prevent system outrages. So it can greatly contribute to reducing the cost of the digital payment system, reducing payment fees, and making strong trust. We have introduced a blockchain-based digital local payment system in 8 cities in Japan already, and have successfully reduced the merchant fee from 3% to 0.5%. In Cambodia, with the introduction of the digital payment system Bakong that utilizes blockchain, payment fees have been reduced to 0. Interoperability, instant payment, and no fee through the use of the blockchain are the key success factors for Cambodia. That's my answer.
Thank you so much for the very insightful response, Mr. Kasumasa. You highlighted the fact that it's not the issue of trust, but more of the issues of non-interoperability, right, among digital payments in Japan. and you also propose for a stronger blockchain-powered digital payment system in Japan and also in ASEAN countries. Thank you so much. So now let's move on to our second round of panel discussion on the economic impacts of cross-border digital payments in ASEAN. So there has been a myriad of bilateral cross-border QR payment linkages and plurilateral cooperation that has been mentioned by the speakers. There are also cross-border real-time fund transfers, while ASEAN-wide QR code payment system is in trial right now. With interoperable cross-border payment system, it facilitates more, hopefully more seamless cross-border trade. My question to Ms. Faisal, how has Indonesia's digital payment system been progressing so far? And importantly, what have been the main benefits obtained by merchants and consumers from digital payment systems like the QRIS payment system in Indonesia?
Thank you, Dr. Monica. I think we have to applaud in the sense Central Bank Indonesia for their relentless pursuit to provide for an interoperable infrastructure throughout the country, which definitely has helped for the players to speed up for the digital transformation. I think, well, I'm a user as well as a player. Definitely for me, when we talk about QRIS, it's my main go-to means of making payments nowadays. I don't necessarily need to bring my wallet anymore. I just do everything through my QRIS. That's how easy and seamless our QRIS is. So obviously, the latest initiative about the cross-border has been applauded also by a lot of players in Indonesia. We have made the financial services become more practical, also accessible, because as you know, QRIS is also it's easier, comparing to card-based payments. It's in a way also it's more affordable, I would say now, and it's also provide with Indonesia with its diverse geographic landscape. This has helped a lot in providing really cross area transactions from urban to remote islands. Now, in particular for fintech, Indonesia has developed rapidly its digital financial services, I would say, and probably now is already the second largest in Southeast Asia. The value of Indonesian digital economy, I think Ibu Fitria did mention in her presentation, we are now at around 82 billion US dollars and estimated to reach 109 billion in 2025, based on the GMV study by a number of houses like Google, Temasek, and Bain. Now, we are forecasted, the Indonesian digital economy itself is forecasted to reach 15% annually from 2022 to 2025, which is a very respectable number. And a number of benefits that generated by this whole financial services is that fast service, 24/7, safe, accessibility, and efficient. And we also, with that, we have also helped our MSMEs, because along with the e-commerce e-commerce booming in Indonesia as well, and the digital payment as well, whereby the digital payment also, and this is what Bank Indonesia has established. It's called Cemumuah system. Ibu Fitria smile now. It's like Cemumuah means like fast, easy to use, cheap, safe, and reliable. That is the national payment system blueprint of Bank Indonesia 2025, and that has been the persistent pursuit by Bank Indonesia to reach. Now, again, when you talk about QR payments, one of the main, I would say, breakthrough initiative from Bank Indonesia, which is a standardized QR code. Now we really we don't have to worry about what banks are you from, to whose bank you're going to pay, right? This whole interoperability has made the money movement very easy. And even in a smaller scale, we talk about almost close to zeros, fees to be able. Some banks even providing zero fees at all for transfer among banks. And we have seen the continuous rapid growth for Curisia since first utilized in 2019. As of now, I think, I don't know my number correct or not, but about 29.63 million merchants, of whom 99% are MSMEs, already use Kris from January to October 2023. That's a lot of number. And clearly that has helped. That has helped MSME a lot by really able to moving money, accepting money, payment from anywhere. And this has topped up with like this whole interoperability, interconnecting of this whole payment system, which flourish the transaction by MSME, especially in the e-commerce platform. I think, but also the offline and online both are flourishing from this curious payment. And once we are expecting this cross-border Kris really putting into life, we also hoping that a lot of tourism will be flourished as well in Indonesia, as well in other Asian countries. Obviously for all, apart from obviously export, import, and the rest. Back to you, Monica.
Thank you, Ms. Faisal. I think Indonesia has provided successful stories in terms of building its fintech industries. I noted from the previous presentation and also from your statement just now that around 92 to 99% of MSMEs in Indonesia have already used Kris in their digital transactions. I think that's really amazing. And also you mentioned that some of the banks have even like provided close to zero fees for digital transactions. And there are also potential positive impacts as well on other sectors such as tourism. So let me now move to my next question to Mr. Sarat and Ms. Triswati. Could cross-border digital payments in ASEAN expand to other areas of capital and financial markets, such as cross-border peer-to-peer lending or cross-border peer-to-peer investment? Say, for example, can an investor in Singapore invest in an Indonesian digital startup through a digital platform?
Yeah, thank you, Monica. And I think cross-border connectivity can move not just only in the area of payment. I think they can move to other areas, like for example, in the area of credit and the investment as well. I mean, taking from the Cambodia perspective, we've been quite focusing on this as well, moving the cross-border connectivity not just only in the area of payment. Now we focus on the area of credit. Like I just would like to mention on two cases from Cambodia right now. At the moment, we are working with the United Nations Development Program to build what we call the universal trusted credentials for the small medium enterprise. So based on these UTC's credentials, the SME would be able to conduct an action with other SMEs around the world. For example, like the producers of the cashew nut in Cambodia, one day create UTCs, and then they can engage with the producer, with the buyers in Indonesia, for example, when they have similar system adopted. So this is something that we try to build the trusted credentials among SMEs within our country to do interaction with not just local SME, but with the other SMEs around the world as well. So now it's still in the pilot stage. I want to mention that it's still on the pilot stage, but the promising of the project is quite useful in the sense that it can connect two SME and two financial institutions from different jurisdiction to then act from one and another. That's one project that we are backing right now. Another project is on the FTC, which is a similar project using similar methodology where we use DLT technology to build the trusted credentials and allow financial institutions from both countries. The FTC project is a project that we are working with the MAS right now to allow SME from both sides to access to financial institution services within Cambodia or within Singapore. So it's still at the early stage at the moment, but it's similar to UTC. FTC is something that utilize the credential that you created and using the credential to access financial services in both countries. One, the UTC is recognizing by both countries and using the same methodology and standardization. So this is just an example that we can use cross-border connectivity to move away, not just using in the payment area, but we can use it in other areas such as credit as well. In terms of the investment space, I think it's already there. I mean, some of the private players, like for example, the equity crowdfunding service platform, they have been offering this service across the border already. As you can see, it's like a small investor in Cambodia. They just enter to the equity crowdfunding platform. They can invest in the stock market anywhere in the world on a peer-to-peer basis as well. So that's not something new, but this is depend on the regulatory environment in each country. For example, in Cambodia, we still have a very restricted regime for the cross-border peer-to-peer investment across country that need to be licensed by competent authority. In this case, it's not under the Central Bank Cambodia. It with the another regulatory authority. We call it non-bank regulatory authority, and then we have the Security Exchange Commission is within that authority. So they are basically issuing the rule and regulation around this the issue of this cross-border investment across the border. So that I can mention. That's why I can mention from the perspective of the central bank, because investment is not really something under the purview of the central bank. So to answer the short answer to your question is that it's yes, we can expand the cross-border connectivity beyond just payment into areas such as credit and investment. Thank you, Monica.
Thank you. That's very amazing. So now, Ms. Triswati.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Miharjo, for very forward-looking questions here. So the answer is, of course, yes. So Bank Indonesia plans to expand our cross-border payment interlinkage that includes Japan, India, and China. And with 5 modalities that I have mentioned before, so there are the priorities is in the QR interlinkage and the and also fast payment. And later we also are working on RTGS, API, and also data framework. But with the cross-border peer-to-peer investment, we will include it in the next phase of the QR interlinkage, the fast payment interlinkage, and also data framework. I have to mention here that that the priorities is in the QR with the payment. I mean, because we are not focusing on like tourism industry now, because we realize that we like to travel each other in the region, Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand and Indonesia. We like to travel to each other country, and that is one modality that we want to cover in our cross-border payment interlinkage now. But investment can be part of the next stage in the fast payment, QR, and also data. Thank you.
Thank you. These are very, very promising areas beyond digital payment. So because of time constraint, let me now move to the next round of panel discussion on the potentials of stronger ASEAN-Japan cross-border digital payment cooperation. As reflected in the panelist presentations and also a previous panel discussion that we had, there are a lot of potentials for ASEAN-Japan cross-border digital payment cooperation, and perhaps this can even go beyond just digital payments, but also digital lendings and digital investment. My question to Mr. Kasumasa and Ms. Faisal: what are the aspirations of the business community in Japan and in Indonesia on ASEAN-Japan cross-border digital payment cooperation? What would they like to see materializing in the short and long run? Mr. Kasumasa, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for your question. So in the short term, inbound tourists from Asia to Japan will be able to use the QR code payment methods they normally use in their home country at stores in Japan. Furthermore, we aim to export Japanese specialty products such as Japanese beef, sake, fruit, and Japanese culture such as animations and the cosplayers to Asia. The aim is to enable the use of the QR code payment in each country for cross-border e-commerce transactions. In the long term, we would like to digitalize the supply chain for trade between Asia and Japan, including manufacturing industry such as automobiles, electric products, and distribution industries such as shopping malls. We have already started to simplifying the process of the various trade-related documents and the procedure using blockchain. But I believe that improving the efficiency of trade finance through digital payment will have a huge economic effect and will lead to the dramatic cooperation and the development between Asian countries and Japan. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Kasumasa. Ms. Faisal, do you want to chime in?
Yes. Very interesting question. I think very good one. What can Japan and Indonesia do when it comes to cross-border payments, right? Japan has been a strong contributor for Indonesian economy since like long time ago. Japan and Indonesia trade and business relation has always been there, even during the Indonesian crisis, the Asian crisis. And not to mention, there are so many Japanese players in the financial sector in Indonesia. Among the bigger banks are owned by actually Japanese bank. So in that sense, what I see is that definitely tourism, clearly, we see, Jan to September, my data show that 17.3 million tourists visited Japan, of which 8.5 million is coming to Indonesia. So back and forth, between Japanese to Indonesia, Indonesia to Japanese. There's a lot of people traveling. Japan has one of the favorite, tourism destination for Indonesian. And I think the digital payments have been benefiting the small ticket item, always the retail, the MSMEs. And this is where the Japanese financial sector, for now, still pretty much focusing on the non-retail sectors outside Japan. So on top of tourism, I think, there may be more also in the area of financial sectors that the Japanese can also benefit well from Indonesia. Also, perhaps we can benefit from exporting our arts and crafts, and others product of our MSMEs to the Japanese partners. So we believe that the ASEAN-Japan cross-border digital payment, Indonesia and ASEAN in a sense, will be able to bring some benefit in a sense that it will be faster, more cost-effective, secure, because then you have the standard, transparent, and inclusive, most importantly, because it's always the game of big ticket items and small ticket items, and digitalization has enabled the small ticket items to be in the same group as the bigger ticket items. I think that's my view, Monica. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Faisal. I think both speakers have highlighted the aspiration for ASEAN and Japan digital payment systems to be more interoperable that could facilitate greater trade, both online and also online when it comes to e-commerce, but also other sectors like manufacturing industries as well as tourism. So now let me have another question in this round to Mr. Kasumasa. How can Japan strategically capitalize on ongoing regional advancements, especially in the context of a more integrated ASEAN market through ASEAN-DEFA that the Secretary General mentioned in his opening remark, to facilitate the implementations of interoperable digital payment platforms with ASEAN member states?
Yeah, thank you very much. So I think that this cross-border payment system between ASEAN countries using our world standard QR code wonderful. So unfortunately, Japan has not yet been able to participate in this circle, but I think Japan will announce to participation in this circle soon. We are proceeding with introduction of CBDC to ASEAN countries and Pacific Island countries, including Laos, PDL, and the Solomon Islands, and hope to connect these CBDC system and the digital payment system of ASEAN countries using blockchain technology, and realize a cross-border payment link between ASEAN, Pacific Island countries, and Japan. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kasumasa. You highlighted very well the intentions or hope for Japan to join the ASEAN QR code, and also the intentions of Japan to establish this CBDC interlinkages with ASEAN countries. Now, my last question in this round goes to Mr. Sarat and again, Mr. Kasumasa. To embark on ASEAN-Japan cross-border digital payment cooperation, what do Japan and ASEAN need to put in place and make their regulations and system or infrastructure interoperable? Maybe 2 minutes for each panelist.
Okay, I try to be brief then. Okay, what are the things that we need to consider for the ASEAN and Japan cross-border connectivity? What are the things that we need to be in place? So I think the thing that our previous speaker mentioned already is the interoperability and interconnectivity payment system infrastructure. I mean, that's good. That's the starting point. Without the interoperability infrastructure, I don't think we can do the connection from one to another. So that's a very important point. The second point I want to highlight here is the harmonization of regulation and then the technical standard. That's also very important. So if two countries using, I mean, not just only ASEAN, we have ASEAN and Japan. If ASEAN and Japan does not agree on the common standard, I don't think we can work it out. Say, for example, on the standardized QR code, if we don't have the same taxonomies for the QR code, I don't think we can work it out either. So the regulation and standard is also important. The third point I want to highlight here is the development of the digital infrastructure, because in cross-border digital payment, we have to rely on digital infrastructure, say, for example, like digital identities, authentication and consent. And then also we have to rely on data exchange as well. So this is very important digital infrastructure. Both sides need to be on the same page and need to be on the standard that is acceptable from both sides. So development of the digital infrastructure is a must as well. The first point I would like to highlight here also is the development of the dispute resolution mechanism. So we had experience with Thailand, Laos, and Vietnam. So when it comes to dispute resolution, we need to have centralized body to resolve the dispute. So we need to create this independent institution representing from both sides, the public sector and the private sector, to handle all this resolution when it comes to cross-border transaction. The last point is on the collaboration among all stakeholders. Again, it's the industry-wide initiative. We have to involve everybody to come on the same page, to agree on everything, commercial term, governance term, technical terms. Everybody needs to agree on that. So collaboration is also important when it comes to connectivity between two countries or region. So in addition to that, just want to rely on Mr. Kamasa-san on the connectivity using the CBDC as a platform. We looking for a partner country as well in terms of that, to explore what we call the cross-border CBDC implication. So I think if Japan is really interested, we can try on. We invited some country in the region to work with us as well, which using the same platform, for example, in Laos, to have a exploration if CBDC can work across the border using DLT technology, especially when it comes to the case that we use the same DLT hyperledger, ERA, for example. So if you agree, we can explore that, not just only in Laos, in other countries too. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sarat. I think you highlighted very important point about harmonizations of regulations, but also common standard taxonomy definitions, right? To make sure that both sides are speaking in the same language. You also mentioned about the importance of digital infrastructure, including digital ID and dispute settlement mechanism. And I'm glad that you're throwing this proposal to Mr. Kasumasa, but the potential collaborations on discussion on CBDC cross-border implications. So now I will give the floor to Mr. Kasumasa to respond.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. I have almost the same opinion with Mr. Salat. So from a regulation and system structure point of view, I think the most important thing is to fulfill both AML, CFT, anti-money laundering requirement, and the user's convenience. Specifically, the governments of both countries should discuss and mutually agree on the level of identity verification, so that the user whose identity has been verified at a certain level approved by central banks or regulatory authorities in ASEAN do not have to verify their identity again in Japan. I think it is important to build a trust between countries. In addition, regarding a cross-border connection between countries using CBDC and the conventional system, bilateral connections are currently being made between two countries. Many proof of concept are being conducted around the world to connect multiple countries using a public blockchain as a connection hub. Our company also collaborated with the ADB to conduct a prototype for the cross-border security settlement system in 3 countries. Public blockchains are independent platforms that do not belong to any particular country or company. So public blockchain has potential to contribute to streamlining the cross-border payment system that connect multiple countries. In order to build a multilateral cross-border connection hub, it is necessary to discuss regulatory and technical aspects such as interoperability rules and the AML safety level among multiple countries. So yeah, we would like to study about the Mr. Salet proposal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kasumasa. For the interest of time, now let me move on to open Q&A session from our online audience. So there are 2 questions. The first question I would like to throw to Ms. Faisal and Mr. Kasumasa. The question is, how can banks or I guess digital payment providers operate sustainably with zero commission? Ms. Faisal, you wanna?
Okay. It's really pretty much to do with the whole infrastructure, right? Because in Indonesia, Bank Indonesia has provided this fast payment. So the cost pretty much bear by the government or the regulators in the sense. Obviously, perhaps in the long run, it may not be like always 0%, but it will be very minimal in a sense that banks no longer making money from doing the payment transaction. They should find their business model surrounding what are other things that you need to build around this payment ecosystem. So payment should not be a means to make profit in a way. Really, payment is facilitating providers or facilitating instrument to complement other financial services that the bank or other players can offer. I think that's in a sense that's what it is. So pretty much depend on your infrastructure. I mean, like, we have not always been like that, but the introduction of the BI Fast in particular for Indonesia has become a game changer in that sense.
Thank you, Ms. Faisal and Mr. Kasumasa. Now let me move on to. Sorry. So I have not given the floor to Mr. Kasumasa. Would you like to respond to the question? How can banks or digital payment providers operate with zero commission? You mentioned in Cambodia, for example, right? Some of the digital payment providers have already provided their services with zero commission.
Yeah, thank you, Rim, for the question. So as we discussing that in Cambodia, this merchant commission becomes 0, and this merchant commission is becoming lower and lower. So nowadays, fast payment system is very popular around the world, such as FedNow in the United States, and NPP in Australia, and UPI in India, PayNow in Singapore. So Bagon is also this kind of fast payment system using a blockchain in Cambodia. And we have Kotora in Japan, which supported 24 hours by 7 and instant real-time payments and low cost, and can add various additional services. So fast payment services becoming popular and popular. and supporting many people due to the low cost and instant payment. So we can't stop the trend of the new payment system based on the new technology. So in July 2023, the BIS issued a report on regarding a CBDC, which stated that first payment system and CBDC coexist and have a complementary relationship. The essential difference is that first payment system is a private bank's debit. And CBDC is a central bank debit and issued by central bank. So that is the essential difference. So the CBDC will shorten the payment chain and reduce the payment costs and time. CBDC can issue even to people who do not have a bank accounts, which will affect to the further promoting financial inclusions. So I think that this CBDC and fast payment system, both system will reduce payment fees. That is a trend which we cannot we should follow.
Yes.
That is my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kasumasa. Because we're running out of time, there are two other questions, but I would like to start with my rapid fire questions to all the panelists. The two questions which you can incorporate in your last final statement. The first one is, will there be a future Japanese travelers when they can travel to ASEAN countries without exchanging Japanese yen to local currency, and also for travelers from ASEAN countries to Japan? And the second question about the disadvantages or risk of central bank's digital currency. So my rapid fire questions to all the panelists: what are the key priorities to push forward in an ASEAN-Japan cross-border digital payment cooperation? Maybe we can start with Mr. Sarat.
Okay, thank you, Monica, again. I think for the quick answer to that, or the one thing that I perceive that very important is the collaboration. I think that the important part. You might heard about. I said this earlier, that we in the process of signing a MOU between Cambodia and Japan with the Ministry of Economy and Finance, Industry and Trade of Japan on this coming 18 December on the cross-border connectivity using QR code payment. I mean, even though we have two different systems, Japan using credit cards a lot, Cambodia using QR code a lot, but we're still embarking on this connectivity between two countries. This is purely based on the industry collaboration. We have a collaboration with the Payment Association Japan. We have a fintech player in Japan that really keen to make this happen between the two countries. So one of the important points I want to highlight is the collaboration. As long as you have a will, you can make anything happen. The regulation come after this. The interoperable payment system come after this. As long as you have the will, you can do everything. Thank you.
Thank you. So now maybe to Ms. Triswati.
Yes, thank you very much, Monica. Of course, we can look forward to the implementation of cross-border QR payment interlinkage first for Indonesia and ASEAN-Japan cross-border digital payment cooperation. In fact, that Bank Indonesia have already signed a memorandum of cooperation related to QR code-based payment on December 9 last year, 2022, with METI, or Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry of Japan. It is signed in Tokyo. So the international digital payment collaboration utilizes the Indonesian standard QR code or CRIS and the Japan Unified QR code or JPQR. So yes, it is possible for the tourists from Japan to come to Indonesia and pay directly in Japanese yen through this QR linkage. And I have to mention this, that the beauty of the QR linkage is because we are using the local currency settlement or local currency settlement. So there is no or local currency transaction. So there is no, like cross exchange. I have to mention maybe with US dollar, but it's directly from Japanese yen to Indonesian rupiah. So it will be very efficient, very low cost, and also lower cost compared to maybe if you come to money changer or using credit cards or maybe withdrawing from ATM machines. So it will be very efficient and will be very easy, as Ibu Anika said, very cemumuah, very fast, very reliable, and then very cheap. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Triswati. And lastly but not least, Mr. Kasumasa.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, thank you very much for this cooperation with ASEAN country and Japan. So, regarding this JPQR, I'm the one of the member to decide this specification of this JPQR, and then we like to promote to use this JPQR inside Japan. And this is just my personal opinion, but the financial institution in Japan is relatively conservative. It's very slow to go to the new technology and the new way of regulations. So that's why please do not please continue to discuss with Japanese member to do to proceed this collaboration with ASEAN country and Japan. So yeah, and please please do the leadership for regarding about this payment system area in ASEAN countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kasumasa. Because we're running out of time, I have to end our panel discussion. It has been so insightful. And on behalf of the audience and the organizer, let me thank all the panelists for their excellent contribution to this very important webinar. Now let me give the floor back to Ms. Katrina.
Our esteemed panelists and speakers, this has been a very rich and meaningful discussion, and we apologize for extending and taking up so much of your time, but really grateful that you stayed with us for the duration of our discussion. We would like to continue with this discussion at some point. We will be having our future webinars on ASEAN-Japan Insights, and we hope that you will continue to be part of that. We will provide more details for that in the coming months. So with that, we end this webinar, and thank you so much for your time and attention.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much for all. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.